Hey, good morning everybody. Bob back here with another lesson for the rest of us. So it's another great day out here at Toad Valley. Hope you get out and play, have a chance to get out and play today or this week later when it's even going to be cooler. It's going to be like in the 70s and 60s. That's beautiful golf weather. Get out and play. So one of the shots that we face a lot in Iowa, because Iowa has a lot more rolling hills than people realize, doesn't it? Man, I talk to people and they think Iowa, oh, that's flat. I'm like, no, that's one state to the west. That's Nebraska. We have a lot of hills in Iowa, and we have especially a lot of hills over here at Toad Valley. And one of the shots that we face on Iowa courses and at Toad Valley is the shot where you have a downhill lie. I think especially of, say, that 8th hole where you've hit a nice tee shot, maybe you've crested it over the hill, and then you get down there and you've got this downhill lie, or maybe the approach on the 8th shot. And you've got that ball, and it's going down to the hole, and you're thinking, man, this feels weird. I don't know how to do this. And how many times do we flub that thing, or we hit it chunky, we hit behind the ball? Well, I'm going to try to show you some tips today on how we can get that ball going the direction we want it to go, and get that ball flying toward the green, and get it out of there. Now, one thing I want to caution you. A downhill lie is a difficult shot. There's no doubt about that. It's not what we practice because driving ranges are flat, and we're always hoping for a flat lie. So it's not something we can practice all that often, but if you get a chance, here are some things I want you to keep in mind. First of all, you and I are not Dustin Johnson and we're not Jason Day. I watch these guys on TV and they hit these shots from downhill lies, and on TV it looks just like the regular shots. Keep in mind something. First, these are supremely talented guys, all right? They have tremendous ability. The second thing is, it's what they do. They do this all day long. For example, in my job, I do a lot of video editing. A person who doesn't do very much video editing wouldn't be able to do anything nearly as well as I do, because I do it every day, and I do it for a good portion of my day. Same with these guys. They're practicing these shots. They're working on them all the time because they know they have to face them. So the thing is, what I'm trying to tell you is, lower your expectation a little bit. You may not hit your most spectacular shot of the day. The goal here is to get the ball moving the direction you want it to go and get it down there somewhere without chunking it and leaving yourself another downhill shot, which is the worst thing ever. So, here are some things that we can talk about. First of all, the problem that most of us have with a downhill shot is that we're afraid the ball's not going to get up in the air. So we kind of line up like a driver, and we kind of tilt our shoulders upward, and we're trying to help get the ball in the air. And the problem with that is when you tilt those shoulders downward, you're going to hit the ground behind the ball. There is no doubt about it. And so what do? Then we try to move the ball back, right? But if we move the ball way back in our stance, we don't have control over it, and guess what? It's going to fly lower. So we've just negated that thing we were trying to do, is get it up in the air. So the first thing I want to get across to you is trust the loft of the golf club. Trust the loft of the golf club. It's going to get the ball off the ground for you. All right? So
Okay. Sorry.
And we're back. We had a little bit of a signal outage. So again, what we're going to have to do is make our shoulders match the slope. We don't want to go against the slope. We want to match the slope. If you take a look at this alignment rod on the ground, I don't know if you can get this, Allison, but if you take a look at this alignment rod on the ground, it kind of shows you the slope. I'm on a fairly decent slope here, maybe a 4 or 5 degree downgrade. All right. So now what I've got to do is make my shoulders match that slope. So I can take this alignment rod right here, and what I've got to do right now, it's not matched. So what I've got to do is I've got to make the shoulders match the slope. All right. So that's the first thing we have to realize. We got to make our shoulders match the slope. Now, when we do that, it is going to put more weight on our left foot for right-handed golfers. Your front foot, it's going to put more weight on that. So you've got to have a little bend there. So what I like to do in order to keep my balance is just widen my stance just a little bit. And that'll help me keep my balance. But look, the weight goes toward the left side, and it's going to kind of stay there throughout the whole golf swing. It's not going to really change. All right? So then what we're going to do is we're going to try to keep our shoulders aligned to the slope throughout the swing. All right? That's going to help us get the ball airborne, believe it or not. Even though it feels like we're leaning the wrong way, trust me, we're not. This club has enough loft to get the ball off the ground. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to take one less club. So if you would normally hit, for example, an 8-iron, I want you to take a 9-iron. All right? And you say, wait a minute, why? The ball won't go as far. Actually, it will. And here's why. because when we take and when we tilt our shoulders this way, we actually put less loft on the club, and we turn that 7-iron into an 8-iron, or we turn that 8-iron into a 9-iron. We de-loft the club when we match our shoulders to that slope. So you can take less club, one less club. Then I want you to choke up just a little bit. All right, the tendency on a downhill shot is to hit the ground behind the ball. Choking up just a little, maybe an inch at the most, will help you, keep you from doing that. And the final thing is, we want to keep that ball right in the center of our stance, and that's sometimes hard to figure out where that is on a downhill. So what you got to do is match your shoulders first, and then keep it underneath your sternum, right in the middle of your sternum. That's a good place to play it. The final thing is, aim a little bit left. You're going to want to aim a little bit left because the ball tends to bleed out to the right. It just does, okay? So, once again, match our shoulders, widen our stance just a little bit, all right? Match our shoulders, choke up just a little bit on the club, use one less club, and aim a little left. And I'm telling you, this ball will work. Now, when you take this swing, you're going to want to try to keep, this is one of those shots where a lot of your weight is going to remain on your front side. It's going to remain there. That's okay. Don't let it get to here. Don't do this. You're going to hit the ground behind the ball if you do that. All right, so keep yourself centered over that ball, and that's going to require you to keep your weight on your front side a little bit. When you finish your swing, I'm just going to tell you, it may not be pretty. All right, Gary Player used to do a thing where he would take a swing and he would walk through. You may end up finding yourself doing that. You know what? It's okay. The objective is to get the ball down that way. I don't care how I look doing it. All right, so we're going to give this a try. That went down there nice and straight. It went down there just like I wanted. Now guess what? It doesn't fly quite as high. That's okay. We don't hit the high, majestic Dustin Johnson shot here. We just want to get the ball down there and going about the direction and the distance that we think it's going to go. I used, if I was going to, this for example, I hit a 9-iron here. So I would use this in a situation where I would normally hit an 8-iron. I would actually use a 9-iron. Okay, so let's go over it one more time. Real quick, we'll go over it one more time. First, got to match our shoulders to the slope. We do that by having a little bit more weight. Got to bend this knee, not this one. All right? We want to bend this knee, get our shoulders aligned with the slope. Widen our stance just a little. Choke up a little bit. Use one less club. So if you normally use a 7, use an 8. All right? We want to get the ball, first align our shoulders, then get the ball centered over our sternum. And we want to just aim a little bit left and take our normal golf swing. And if we walk through, that's okay. That's it. That's the downhill shot. You won't face too many of them over here, Toad, but I'm going to guarantee you, when you do, you're going to be glad you knew how to do it, because you're going to advance that ball forward and maybe make a par. All right? So come out here, have a good time, play some golf this week. It's going to be great weather. See you next time.